Uganda is named the Pearl of Africa for so many reasons, and one of those is its football. There are a couple of young players out there that have gone on to feature for the national team, which is a special moment for everyone that goes out and represents black, yellow, red. Luckily today, the FIFA Communications Department got one of those exciting players on the national team, the Uganda Cranes. And without wasting any time, today we are having a sit down with Elvis Bwomono, who plays. He's played in Scotland recently and he's been on the national team for a couple of years now. So I'm glad to be joining him, and we shall be sharing his life and what he's up to right now. So Elvis, you're welcome.
Thank you.
How is life, and for starters, who is Elvis Bwomono?
Life is fine. For starters, Elvis Bwomono is a boy born in Tebe. I'm from Gulu. I'm a Choli, so that's a young boy that was born here, that his family moved to England at a very young age, when I was 3. And he's just a professional footballer that plays football in Scotland, Uganda Cranes, and just a young boy wanting to play as high as he can.
If you remember, for the early stage of your life, before you shifted to London, where were you living, in Kampala or around Uganda? Where were you living?
My family had a few places, so it was in Tebe and Gulu. So very humble beginnings. I come from a family of five kids, 2 girls, 3 boys, and I'm the youngest. So I'm the spoilt one in the family, the young one. So just up and down, just living as every other kid does.
Yeah, and how often do you go back to Gulu?
Very often, whenever I get the opportunity after the games with the Uganda Cranes. Obviously since COVID it's been harder. I do a few days up there just to see family, friends, and continue.
Yeah, and do you probably know the language?
The problem, I understand everything, just my pronunciation sometimes is just a bit off, but I understand all parts of Acholi, and we still speak it back home.
Like, can you speak?
In the spot, just the simple itinin in, kope no, kope, tima bear, so I get around.
Yeah, then if you shift to your footballing career, where did this journey start? Is there an inspiration from the family that probably your dad or uncle was playing football?
No, not my parents or anything, more my brother. So when I was back in England now, my brother was playing. He was playing for Fulham Academy. He progressed, but he didn't push too many far. Then my second follower brother, he played a good level, and then fortunately for me, it was more of a push to become the more professional footballer in the family.
Yeah, and when you shifted to London, probably which academy did you go to first, and did you start out as a defender, or probably you started in a different position?
Me, I started as a striker. So from young, I was in the Arsenal Academy from the age of 8 to 12, and then from there I moved on to QPR, and then that's when from being a striker I moved to centre mid, and then started playing there. Then when I was 15, 16, I got scouted for Southend. And then from Southend is when they moved me to right back, and then from there my career kick started.
Then on the professional side of life, which club did you start your professional career, and do you remember that particular day you made your debut?
Of course, you'll never forget it, man. So I made my first debut for Southend. So my professional contract first came in 2017. I signed a 4-year professional contract, and I remember the day I made my debut like yesterday. I still get flashbacks now.
Do you remember the result and how it went?
We lost 2-1 to Gillingham in the cup. I played really well. I got man of the match, and then from there the league debut then followed the week after against Rochdale, and then from there my career just kick-started.
Yeah, then starting out as a footballer in London or England to say, you've also moved to Iceland at some point, and recently Scotland. How has the journey been in terms of environment, changing environment, language, weather? So
the one to Iceland was cold, man. Very different, but they speak very good English there, so it wasn't hard. I knew the manager already. He was already my assistant manager, so the move to go out there was an easy transition to go. I played there for 2 years, and then in January officially signed for St Mirren in Scotland, and ever since then. The language is obviously in Scotland is English, is fine, but the weather is always a bit challenging.
Yeah. And at St Mirren you signed a short-term contract. Are you looking at renewing, or are you probably going elsewhere?
No, I'll be renewing. So I've signed already, so I've got another year kick-started. So the season starts again. in a few weeks. I go back to training. We got finished in Europa Conference League spot. So hopefully we go through and we do well.
That's good. Then about the national team. I remember it's about now 4 years with the national team. First, take us through the moment you got to know that you're going to play for Uganda, and how did it all begin?
It was in 2019. I was playing really well, and then there was media outlets saying that he's online to get a call up, and then that's when Jonathan McKinstry called me, December 2019, and then he was telling me about the cranes, the setup, and how I'd fit in the team, and it was really positive. And then from there, I met him in 2020 January, and then from there that's when I decided that I'll play. And then my first call up was the 2020 March games, but that's when COVID happened, and then that's how I initially came into the cranes.
What was the reaction from your family, your immediate family? How did they receive the news that you're going to play for Uganda?
The biggest pride, from my dad, my mum, even the people back home in Gulu now. It's just the biggest support, just to make them happy, smiling, and just watching me play for them in Nambola Stadium was just the pinnacle of everything.
Yeah, and then that debut against South Sudan, how did it feel for you to wear that special shirt for the national team?
It was very heartwarming, you know, someone that you aspire to play for your country, just at the highest level, so being able to put on the jersey every time is just a heartwarming feeling and something that you never can explain.
Yeah, and now you're in a national team setup, a couple of games played, you're really into the game now and you're really commanding that number. You're playing a couple of meets now. Where do you see this national team going? Because it's a couple of young players in there with a few senior players. Where do you see yourselves going as a group?
Very far, as much as we can push. We've got a good balance. We're young. The young boys are experienced. Even you look at me now, I'm 25. I've played over 200 games, so we're a really good balanced team. I think we can go as far as what we want. Our eyes are obviously for these games to maximise our games and our points, but I think we should be pushing for as high as we can.
Yeah, and Uganda will be hosting AFCON 2027. I would say it's one of the things you're looking forward to as a player and as a group.
100%, especially now with things back in place. Even just if AFCON could be a glimpse of what Friday's atmosphere in Nambola was, then we'll be really ready for them. That's the games that we're really looking forward to be pushing in.
Yeah, talking about Nambola, the time you got your debut for the national team, this place was locked. And how did it feel, you playing here against Botswana?
It was crazy. Even just the day before and a few days leading up to the game, coming in and for the first time watching it and just taking it all in before the game when we walked around and the fans were just cheering. It's unexplainable. As soon as I left the tunnel, I can just hear the fans. It's just the nicest feeling. Yeah,
and finally, a special message to Ugandans out there who support the national team amidst all the challenges. They've been there and been supporting you guys. What would be your special message to them?
Thank you for the support. Continue support always, and we'll continue pushing on and playing for you guys.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure having you on chat, and I wish you good luck in all your endeavors.
Thank you. Thank you, Joe.
Okay. It's been a pleasure having Elvis Bwomono live on a chat with us for Communications Production, and we hope to see you soon. Keep supporting the Uganda Cranes, keep supporting Ugandan football. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. How do they go?
Okay. I understand everything.